What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics, and we are going to wrap up our coverage over House of X and Power of X. And we pick out the last two chapters of both of these titles. Now, with that being said, we actually see the formation of the Quiet Council. The Quiet Council is going to play a very important role for later stories down the road. And honestly, I like this a lot because the Quiet Council hold a bunch of different characters who all play different roles when it comes to Krakoa. But with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video, and if you do, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. But here we go. Now, to begin today's video, we actually pick up with the formation of the Quiet Council. Now, the Quiet Council is Charles Xavier, Magneto, and a set of other mutants coming together to make big decisions for Krakoa. Now, these mutants are all not good. What I mean by that is, yes, you do have Charles Xavier, Storm, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, and even Magneto, but you do have some mutants who are just straight up bad, or have been bad in past comics when it comes to the X-Men. For example, like Mystique and Apocalypse, and there are a few others on the team as well. Now, when it comes to the Quiet Council, you only have 14 spots. With those 14 spots, that means these 14 are the ones that usually make the big decisions when it comes to Krakoa. Now, there are 4 other spots, 15, 16, 17, and 18, but those are captains. What I mean is those are the captains out in the field. They have the ability to make big decisions out there in the field. But if the Quiet Council needs to call one of these captains in to help them make a big decision, then those captains actually have the ability to give their thoughts on different topics Krakoa is having right now. And so right now, the Quiet Council is coming together to talk about one particular mutant, and that mutant is Sabretooth. Now, the reason why they're putting Sabretooth on trial is because what Sabretooth did while he, Mystique, and Toad were on a mission. Remember, in the earlier chapters of House of X and Power of X, Sabretooth, Mystique, and Toad were tasked to gather information from Damage Control. Now, they were able to do that, but Sabretooth did kill off some humans, which is a huge problem. But of course, they're going to use Sabretooth as an example for their new laws, because Charles Xavier realized they need to make laws as a way to keep structure in this new nation they have built. And so they make 3 laws. The first one is mutants are not allowed to kill humans. Now, that law right there is very, very important, because when it comes to the members on the Quiet Council like Jean Grey, Storm, and Nightcrawler, who are usually good characters, they feel like that law is good to have. But for characters like Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, Mystique, and so on, they feel like that law is bad, because sooner or later humans are going to begin the process of coming here and trying to wipe out the mutant race like they have done in the past. Now, the second law is make more mutants. And that right there is also very important, because that means, listen, the mutant race has gone through a lot over the years, meaning that they have lost a lot of innocent mutants. So they need to rebuild their lost numbers. So make more mutants. And the last law is to respect the land they're living on, which is Krakoa, the living island, because it is him who gave them somewhere to live on. And so they need to respect him if they want to stay on this island. But again, they're going to use Sabretooth as a way, as an example for the rest of the mutants on Krakoa to learn by. You do not kill humans at all, unless you have a legit reason. And so with that being said, Sabretooth is found guilty because he did kill those humans back at Damage Control. Now, Krakoa does not have an actual prison built, meaning that you have some kind of prison facility, they have some cells, and you throw your bad mutants in those cells. Instead, what they have is Krakoa is going to take Sabretooth and take him underground and keep him in some kind of stasis. And the reason why, because they want Sabretooth to be aware the whole time while being in stasis, to hopefully learn from his mistakes. But again, they're going to use him as an example for their new laws. Mutants do not kill humans. And so Sabretooth is taken underground to be kept in stasis. But either way, this is Charles Xavier and the Quiet Council coming together for the first time and beginning the process of making some kind of structure and Krakoa. And they will come together more times down the road. Now, you do have Charles Xavier, Magneto, and the rest of the Quiet Council actually go outside and join the rest of the mutants on Krakoa. And the reason why, because they're having a big celebration. And this celebration is well deserved because now the mutant race have an island to fight for, an island to live for. And so right now, is Charles Xavier and Magneto happy on what they were able to accomplish? But now they must continue to fight to keep this nation going, because with Moira Taggart's past lives, they know that this is just the beginning. Things could still happen down the road and they could lose all of this. And so right now you have Magneto and Charles Xavier just enjoying this current celebration for the time being. But as we jump 1,000 years into the future, we pick up with the human race that has combined with machines and made a new kind of human race. But the Librarian enters the Preserve. The Preserve is a zoo of sorts housing near extinct species. Among them, there are mutants, but of course, there are some mutants we know, characters we expect to live this long. The Librarian is confronted by Wolverine and Moira Taggart. Now, Wolverine and Moira Taggart are trapped in the Preserve, and they have been doing their best to rally the mutants within to overthrow their overlords. Now, the Librarian informs them that they have made contact with the Phalanx. Now, of course, the Phalanx is a species that goes around the universe collecting different kinds of machines, and they're hoping that those machines have some kind of intelligence. And if they do, that is great for the Phalanx. Now, you do have the Librarian tell them that the Earth is going to be absorbed by the Phalanx. And of course, the Phalanx are planning on passing on this new energy source over to their god, which is the Dominion. Now, you do have the Librarian tell Wolverine and Moira Taggart that he does plan to send Moira Taggart off world. And the reason why, because he knows if Moira Taggart dies, then she has the ability to restart the timeline, which means that the Librarian could never exist. On top of that, he'll lose all of his intelligence that he has gained over the years. Now, he does say that if he is able to be absorbed by the Phalanx and they take that energy they got from him and give it over to their lord, the Dominion, then he will live beyond space and time, and he'll be able to actually keep everything he learned over the years. And so right now he's trying to make sure that Moira Taggart does not die, because if she does, the timeline will reset and he will lose all of his knowledge. Now, you do have the Librarian tell Wolverine and Moira Taggart he does have some doubts here at the moment, because right now he's kind of wondering about the mutant and the human race, how they're both doomed to go extinct. And that right there is a huge thing to say to Moira Taggart, because remember, when it comes to Moira Taggart, she has lived multiple lives trying to save the mutant race. But now you have this man, the Librarian, saying, I feel like mutants and humans are both doomed to die. They're both doomed to go extinct no matter what. Like, we were technically made to just fail. And no matter what we do, we are going to continue to fail over the years, over and over again. And of course, we can try to use technology and other things in the universe to help us, but again, we are still doomed to fail. Now, Wolverine goes ahead and kills off the Librarian because Wolverine has been wanting to do that for a long period of time. But Mormont was able to figure something else out with the speech the Librarian give, meaning that the humankind will always use machines as a way to buy themselves more time to become something greater. Of course, that means there being a true threat to the mutant race. And so you have Mormont as Logan to kill her. And of course, this ends her 6th life. And this is huge because remember, we had no idea what happened to Mormont when it came to her 6th life. And this was her 6th life. She lived 1,000 years into the future. And with her doing that, she realized that humans will use machines as a way to keep them alive a tad bit longer just to make sure to kill off the mutant race. They will use machines to make them greater than what they already are, to kill off mutants. And so that ends Mormont 6th and final life. Now, we actually do jump back in time to the moment where Charles Xavier first met Mormont, where of course he does use his powers to learn more about her past lives. Now, of course, when he does that, he learns that every single time Mormont tries something, the mutant race always ends up losing because humans and machines are the reason why the mutant race fails. And so with that being said, it's her coming to Charles Xavier and saying, listen, no matter what happens, we always fail. Humans and machines are the reason why we go extinct. But the one thing I realize about you, Charles Xavier, even though I loved you and hated you and all the different emotions between those two, you never change. You always have hope. You always have faith that one day you can save the mutant race. I'm here to tell you that you have been dreaming the wrong dreams. It's time for you to wake up and look at reality. That humans will never like mutants. Machines and humans will always lead to our deaths. The only thing we can do is most likely prolong it and hopefully find a way, or keep fighting until we find a way. But you're never going to have that peaceful world between humans and mutants. And that right there is very huge. But then we jump back over to the present day, where we pick up with Magneto and Charles Xavier meeting up with Mormont. Now this right here is very huge, and this is where we're going to end our video off actually. And the reason why, because Mormont is hiding somewhere underneath all of Krakoa, a rest from the mutant race, for a good reason why. But you do have Magneto and Charles Xavier coming here and telling her about the Quiet Council, how they were able to form the Quiet Council and who is on the Quiet Council. On top of that, you do have Charles Xavier tell Mormont that he was able to give Mystique a spot at the Quiet Council, but of course Mystique wants Destiny brought back to life, and Charles Xavier and Magneto had promised Mystique that they would bring Destiny back to life. But for Mormont, Destiny cannot come back to life at all. And the reason why, because let's not forget, in the earlier videos of House of X and Power of X, Destiny and Mormont are tied to one another because Destiny has the ability to see possible futures, meaning that she knew about the different lives of Mormont, and she knew that Mormont was trying to save the mutant race in her other lives. Now here comes the big thing though. The reason why Mormont does not want Destiny to come back to life is because if Destiny does, then Destiny will tell everyone on Krakoa the big secret, the big truth, that no matter what happens, mutants will always die. They will always fail. Of course, Charles Xavier, Magneto, and Mormont know that because Mormont has lived 9 lives up to this point. This is her 10th life. But with that being said, in her past lives, mutants had always failed, of course, by the hands of humans and machines. But of course, she wants to keep that secret away from the rest of the mutants on Krakoa. But if Destiny comes back, then Destiny has the ability to look into possible futures, find that future, and could tell the rest of the world or the rest of the mutants, hey, look, Charles, Magneto, and Moira Taggart are hiding this big secret. We are doomed to die no matter what. And they had you believe that this right here is going to be different. But in reality, it could be a possible doom state for us down the road. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. And the reason why, because this is now where we go into the other books for Johnathan Hickman and his X-Men team. So X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, all of those books will be told down the road in later videos. So if you enjoyed today's comic book video, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video.